I wish this thing had a counter, it tells me. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Total and Tourist Preservation Group's monthly live event. We typically do a meet a member where we're meeting with just one member every month, but this month, we're going to take some time to look back at 2023, which was a terrific year for Total and Tourist Preservation Group, but also many of our members. I'm happy to see Russ joining us here. That's again an exception, so we'll make the most of it when we can get him. Russ, how have you been?
Yeah, good, good. We're
Busy
uh,
winter for you. I won't go into the personal side of things, but I hope everything is good with you and
yeah,
the family right now.
yeah. Things are starting to look up. So yeah, thank you for that. We had a we had a rough December for sure.
All right. Um, how's the new year treating you so far?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm worried about the weather, like most of us. Well, not you because you're in California, but we're supposed to start snowing Sunday, and I think Sunday and Monday we're supposed to be about 5 degrees. So I've
Five.
Yeah, yeah. So in my animal building today, I'm starting to kind of winterize a little bit. A lot of my animals are hibernating right now anyway, but I let the hot water drip and put styrofoam around my outside faucets, and I keep everything inside. I don't keep any animals outside. So, but my building does, even with heaters, takes a pretty good hit when it drops below that far below freezing for sure. So
Right.
we were a little below freezing today, but my building was nice and toasty, so or relatively toasty. So, but yeah, things
Nice.
are pretty good. Everything's asleep, so I'm getting some work done on some book projects, writing projects, and some layout projects that are exciting.
Are you making progress on the book that I've been waiting for 2 years now?
Yeah, I keep getting sidetracked, and my poor co-author is really super busy too. So we're slowly piecing it together. It's going to be pretty exciting. And then I'm working on another turtle book project that was launched at TTPG last year, or the idea was I can't really talk too much about it, but anyway,
Right.
that one's going to be coming together this spring. So we'll have
Nice.
it just in a few months, this new special project. So
Yeah. I
unless
see you.
unless the author wants to come on and announce it, I don't want to do any of that. I don't like
Well,
doing that when it's just me doing the layout and design instead of the authoring. So
I appreciate. I see your co-author on the other book is online, and I'm sure he will be excited to see the book go out this year if at all that happens. I know he's looking to get a couple of his books out. Anthony.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's if I could get him to stop writing for Reptiles Magazine and we'd get some stuff done. No, I'm joking, of course, but yeah, he's become a very prolific. He's a very good writer. So it just both of us are so busy with other projects. It's hard to get together. So
Anthony is saying, I wouldn't send the articles to reptiles if you guys didn't keep missing the articles I sent to you. So I guess that's that.
oh please,
I'm
yeah.
just kidding. I'm trying to get a hold of James.
One time or two times, yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. I'm always begging for articles for the Baedeker, just begging, and luckily we've got Stefan and Ferry in Europe, and they have given us, some articles from Radiata and Cicalia, and then we translate them. So they have appeared, but they've never appeared in English before. So that's about as good as we can do for original articles these days. It's very difficult to get people to write. So anyway, I'm actually starting the template for this next year's Baedeker. I like to start really early, just because the printing process these days is really weird. It used to be really kind of, you knew if you got a project in on this deadline, you would get hard copies on this date, and those days are over. So I like to get the thing pieced together during the winter, usually when my animals are asleep and I've got a little extra time. So
Awesome. Well, before we dive in and start talking about a conference 2023 in general, I'll take this opportunity to send place a request to anyone who's listening. If you are interested in writing an article for Badacore, please drop us a note. If you go to the TTPG website, you can find Russ's email or mine. Send us a note, and you don't. If you're worried that you haven't written an article before, no problem. Reach out to us with what it is that you're trying to write about, and Russ would be happy to give you some guidelines that will help you complete that article. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I've created books and articles from notes, just stacks of notes. So yeah, it can be done. And they're all kind of the same format. If you look at the Badager, almost all reptile husbandry articles are the same, introduction. They all have this same sort of flow to them. So once you read a couple, you kind of get that that feel. So yeah, I'd love to have some new authors for the Badager.
Talking to James. Yeah, and I've tried to loop in Anthony and say, hey, you should do a writer's workshop. We'll host a Zoom workshop. If those who are interested can hop on, and we'll talk about how to go about writing an article. And maybe we will get to that this spring, Anthony, if you can manage to find some time.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So, Russ, let's talk about 2023 and what a year it was for TTPG. I would love to hear from you your take. Any moments that stand out for you that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah. So I'll give you some of the basics. So we decided, kind of Drew and James and I, along with the board. Hi, James.
Hello.
We decided several years ago that the best thing for us to do was to do the Badager and to do Turtle and Tortoise Week, International Turtle and Tortoise Week, and do the conference and do those really well. We early on, we wanted to help this guy build a pond in Africa, and we wanted to do this, and we got pushed and pulled in lots of directions, lots of great ideas and assurance colonies and the Chelonium propagation program. All of those were early ideas, and we just didn't have the manpower and the energy to do it. And what we saw was going to happen was we were going to get spread too thin and maybe not do a good job on those three things that we really are sort of foundational parts of TTPG. So with that said, I think this year we've found that manpower. We've got some great dudes. You're getting ready to see two of them, but we've got a lot of new members that are really excited. And of course, now Cameron Lamb is doing the Chelonium propagation program and doing a great job. But that's been our fear, is that we were going to get water. We're a 100% volunteer organization. I'm not saying we're shoestring, but we're very smart with our money and use it wisely, I think. So, James.
Yeah, before I let James jump in. And I think that's important. The other thing that we have not been able to do in the past, and not something I'm beginning to think about, is, so when you have wonderful volunteers, it's also important to make sure we don't burn them out. So that management aspect has to come in as well. And that, again, when everybody is a volunteer, it's hard to make that happen. But we are mature enough as an organization in terms of our manpower, in terms of the different strength the different directors bring in, that moving forward, we are in a position to look at that. Now, of course, that, every year after the conference, people get energized. They're like, we should do more projects. We should do this and that. Well, remember, unless the person who's pitching in an idea is able to come and execute it, you got to realize not it's not going
Yeah.
to go as fast
And
as
and we've seen, you know, again, I started TTPG in 1996. That's crazy. And then we kind of reformed with James and Drew. And about what year was that? About
2009.
yeah. So we've seen it. You know, I mean, I hate to be a cynic, but it's like you said, everybody gets really jazzed up at the conference, and but we've seen that, you know, and every volunteer organization has, you know, where we just have to take it slow and take it smart, because you don't want to start something and then have it sort of fizzle out, you know, the next year or 2 years later or something like that. So that's why you know, I think we do such a good job. International Turtle and Tortoise Week, of course, Ashley at ZoomEd and our friends at ZoomEd, you know, really help us a lot with that. In the conference, I mean, you just, you know, I don't think it's just incredible what goes on behind the scenes to put on that little 2-day conference and a field trip, 3 days, really. You know, and from a financial standpoint, you know, the conferences are very, very difficult to pull off successfully now. There are lots of herp societies and other groups that are having to either not do conferences or move conferences into a herp society member's home or onto a college campus or a high school campus and away from these big resorts and big fancy hotels, just because it's cost prohibitive. I mean, it's James and Drew really work on that end because they're there in Phoenix, but it's just it's incredible what's gone on just the last 2 years from a financial standpoint, just to put the conference on. That's not including shirts and programs and all the other things, the catering and things. It's pretty scary, to be honest. Yep.
Yeah. But you know, with 2023, we saw a lot of those things come together in a way. I think we did more t-shirt prints than we have
Oh,
done it
it's
in the past. Again, and I think that all says something which is very exciting. Go on, Russ.
yeah. Sorry. I was kind of gloom and doom there for a minute. Yeah. We're very healthy financially, and we've got, like I said, we've got all of this new energy from new members. Yeah, we did. I mean, what did we do? 4 shirt designs this year, and had a great field trip. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, it's the conference. In fact, we looked around the room this year, maybe for the first time, and it's like, I'm not saying it was standing room only, but there were very few empty seats this year, which is pretty exciting. Yeah.
We will talk about that.
Oh,
We had some very interesting numbers actually. Yeah, James and I were kind of trying to make sense of that actually for a minute there. But you know, to Cameron's point, you know, the programs that we got again, that's again finding the people to shoulder it, and sometimes it gets frustrating, and sometimes you feel the burnout, and finding the people who can push through it and supporting them to be able to do that, to do that. I think we are in that place. For those who are joining us just now or have been here for a few minutes, thank you so much for joining us on a Friday evening. It's always a pleasure hearing from you all and being able to chat with you live. And so, if you have any questions for James, Russ, or even me, or any of our guess who are gonna hop on, do let us put that in the chat. James, good to see you. Always a
Yep.
pleasure. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me. Sorry, to join you late. My platform didn't seem to want to allow my microphone or my camera for some reason. So
I'm glad you made it work. Hope you and the
yeah,
family are having a wonderful New Year so far.
we are. Thank you.
So we were talking. I was asking Russ about his take on about the past year, 2023, and what it meant for TTPG. And I know you and Cameron traveled this year on behalf of TTPG to Texas, I believe, right? Oh, oh
No,
no,
Chicago.
Tinley.
We went to
Chicago. Okay, Tinley.
yeah.
That's right. What's your take, James? How did you feel about this past year as it relates to the organization?
It you try to make sense of everything we do, right? And where is it best to do advertising? Where is it best to make appearances or try to push to get the word out? And we are an organization that is dedicated to turtles and tortoises, so you want to find those places that kind of have a heavy the reptile industry is huge, and so we've got to find that area that complements or focused on turtles and tortoises, and focus, kind of a drive in that area to try to promote TTPG. And Russ, Drew, and I had several conversations this past year in 2023 where, we felt like we needed to put some effort into revitalizing or pushing, to let people know we're here still. We're out there. We're the conference is the place to be if you're wanting to talk turtles, tortoises, husbandry, maintenance, care, breeding, and there was phenomenal talks this year. And then it was to get the lineup, and Russ always does a great job rounding up the speakers. I heard the earlier comment, and not to run down the path Russ ran down. There's a tremendous amount of balls in the air that we're juggling, and so it is. I always tell people it is easy for us to overlook an email, and I tell everyone, I may not get back to you in a day, but a gentle reminder also is never hurtful, because I don't take it in any bad way. I sometimes, it takes me a minute to get to a message or an email, but I think and we had a lot of not only Cameron and I traveling, Russ traveled, you traveled to Daytona. We had Drew out at Iguana Fest, and anytime we can get the word out. And then we started networking more with the shows, trying to get a bigger presence in shows like Rami's super shows and stuff like that, and get tables. And again, part of what we did was go to places where the promoters were friendly to TTPG and giving us a table. Wayne always has been really friendly to TTPG. Bob and Brian, were friendly to TTPG and gave us a table, and that helps, because we are known to be frugal. We try to make that dollar go as far as possible, and would team it with people that were already traveling to those areas, and so I thought we did a good job, because we did seem to see a lot better attendance this year. So.
Yeah, no, and Ross mentioned it, and you mentioned the frugality. I want to also clarify for people, because we are a completely volunteer-run organization. We are heavily dependent on our membership, and when we take that membership, we are trying to provide our members the most value by bringing in incredible speakers, by bringing in the Barrical, which takes a big chunk of our membership cost, actually, without getting into specifics. And what we try to not do is throw around our money in areas that might just look like we're doing a lot, but isn't really bringing much returns to the group and our members, actually. And we are a group, if folks just reflect, we don't hit people regularly asking for money, for donations. So we take the membership cost and the sponsorship cost that many of our wonderful members have stepped up in the last 2 years and given us sponsorship money. We make those dollars go far. But stay tuned. I've got a few ideas that I'm going to work with the directors to get a few projects going where members can contribute directly, because we want you to be heavily involved. And I'm hoping we can get a couple of these projects going this year. But, remember, again, we are a completely volunteer-run organization, so please be patient. Go ahead, Jim.
And Michael, I will say, we're a very kind of tight-knit group, this Turtle and Tortoise group, and the generosity in this group is just like none other. We see that at the conference time with the lineup of all the sponsors for the breakfasts and sponsoring all sorts of events. We get a lot of sponsors, the barbecue, anything we can do. And then the CPP keeps coming up. That's all done. Cameron, who happy birthday, Cameron.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
It is
Talk
his
about
birthday
it.
today. I saw a flash of it on Facebook at some point, walking between meetings today. But I wanted to make sure I said happy birthday. But CPP, Cameron's donating his time, and then everyone in these wonderful donations of animals that keep coming in. And so while we're a very diverse group, we're a very generous group, and it's our members. You see that generosity in our members. With the donations to CPP, the donations to the different events at the conference, and everything we do, we get donations throughout the year. So. And we appreciate everyone, and like I said, I always want to thank our community, because it is a very generous community.
Yeah. And thanks for the reminder, James. Happy birthday, Cameron. Hope it's a special one. Hope it's going great for you. Now, Russ talked about the conference and how it looked like we were almost full. James, I sent you the numbers. I don't know if you have it. Do you want to talk about it, or would you like me to cover it for you?
Yeah, cover it for me, because I don't have that note in front of me. I know we went back and forth on it, but I have several notes in front of me, but not that one. So please.
So we had 138 attendees.
Uh-oh. We lost him.
Okay. He'll come back on just a second there. So he's building suspense here for us.
Right. Oh my gosh, what if he doesn't come back? It's just you and me, James. Oh, there he is. All right, there he is.
Okay, so it's my internet connection. I thought I lost James there for a second. I was talking, so
Yeah.
Hey, but that tells you, be ready to start dancing. So
That's right.
we had 138 members or attendees at the conference this year. That includes speakers and board members as well, but it doesn't include our partners from ZoomEd and Timberline and other partners over there. But that number might, for a conference that's been running for 13 years, that number might look small, but let me try to put it in help make sense of that. Again, it's not a reptile conference. A lot of the conferences are, like IHS, for example, it's snakes, it's amphibians, it's everything. We focus very specifically just on turtles and tortoises. And that venue we have been using for the past, I think, 10 years. Its seating capacity is 125, James. I think that's what you saw on the website. So this year we went over capacity, and if everybody who attended actually took a seat, we would have run out of seats. So I guess that's a good problem to have next year if we grow. So, and I wanna take a moment to thank every member who takes time to come and attend the conference. It's a big ask. A lot of us work for somebody else, so you have to take time off. If you're attending the field trip, you're staying back for the show and the auction. You're away from home, away from your animals for good 4 or 5 days, and we appreciate every one of you who take the time and do that. At one of the busiest times of the year as well. It's right up against Thanksgiving. So sincerely appreciate you all. Thanks for making that happen. James, I think you were trying to say something. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, and absolutely, you're fine. You're fine. I was going to mention on that 138, and you did cover it, that because people ebb and flow, they sit in the foyer, they're doing other things. They're not all in that room at one time, and that's why it works. So
right,
yeah,
right. Now it isn't a secret that the three of us love the conference. It's something we all look forward to every year. It's like a vacation, with a different family of us. And many of the folks who are, tuning in, they have attended, they all like it. But some wonderful young keepers made it to the conference for the first time this year. And I've invited a couple of them, and hopefully Wes, will join in as well. And I wanted to hear from them, what they liked. If they have any notes for us, suggestions, we are always looking to open to feedback. Not that we might always jump in on every suggestion, but we want to hear from you. So I would like to first bring on Dawson, who is in Texas, and he's actually getting ready for a free spell this weekend. Um, I appreciate him joining us here, even though he's trying to take care of all his animals. Hey, Dawson, how are
Hey,
you?
guys, how are you?
Great.
Thanks for
Good.
having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, our pleasure. Thanks for making time. And I know we had to reschedule this once, but I appreciate you guys making time. Um, Dawson, you are one of the folks, one of the members that many of our other members are really excited about. And you've been with Tutor Tom. I don't know if Tom is here. He's been doing an amazing job on his weekly podcast. So um, you are kind of a man who doesn't need a whole lot of introduction, but I'm going to give you a couple minutes to talk about yourself, your journey with Turtles and Tortoises so far. And then if you could share with us your experience at your first TTPG conference, that would be awesome.
Awesome. I appreciate the kind words. That means a lot. I'm a young kid with some big dreams, so that's my goal here is to make my mark on the turtle and tortoise world. So kind of step into your guys' shoes and do what I can with the time that God's been giving me. So I started with tortoises and turtles about 6 or 7 years ago. I got my first tortoise. Of course, it was a baby sulcata off of one of those sketchy websites. I ordered it behind my parents' back, and I delivered to my house. They didn't like it so much, but from then on, I love tortoises and turtles. So a little background for me. I'm in the National Guard as a paratrooper over in Texas. I live in Texas right now. I'm originally from Iowa. Grew up in the snow, so this cold doesn't scare me that we're getting. All good. My main focus right now is education and inspiring the next generation of younger people and older people how we can change the turtle game and tortoise game. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, y- you made it to the conference this year. How did you feel? For someone who's been thinking about the conference maybe but hasn't pulled the trigger, hasn't made it out there, what would you tell them about your first time, at the conference?
At first, I was super nervous. So driving there, I drove by myself. I was nervous to meet a lot of people. I was nervous to see how it was going to go, what was going to happen, how were the people going to react to the new guy. Everybody's worried about who's the new guy. I texted Cameron Lamb. I was kind of in touch with him and Matthew Hills, and he and Stephanie so graciously invited me to their house. And I think that was a huge icebreaker for me to be able to go to his house, and he showed me his collection, kind of introduced me to everything that he's been doing, and him and his wife were really kind to me. And then, so that helped a lot. And then I was invited by Matthew and Cameron to go tour Andrew's place over at the Arizona Tortoise Compound. And that just set the bar high, that really set it high for me. And meeting everybody that I got to meet and focusing on getting to know everybody. I think they call it networking. Yeah. My goal was to network with as many people as possible, get to know everybody, and try to make a really good first impression for myself with everybody in the turtle and tortoise community. So I think that really was big for me. That was great. I enjoyed that a lot. So.
Yeah, I have to say, I didn't hear anything but good stuff about you, good words about you, compliments about you from just about everyone who you spend time with. And, now that kind of comes easy for a lot of our TTP members, and I want to say that because that's kind of the welcoming group we are. I was the new guy back in, geez, was it 2010? Kurt Edwards stands out as somebody who, so easy to talk to. James, of course, James always has a smile. You can approach him very easily. And Russ, when
Not
you get a
always.
hold of him, he's always happy to spend a few minutes, no matter where he's trying to run. Sorry, Russ, what were you saying?
Nothing. Yeah. Hey, Dawson, how'd you hear about the conference?
So I was scrolling through Facebook. I was starting to build up my collection a little bit, and I had a couple friends talked to them, and they mentioned something about this group. So I went searching on Facebook, and I found the group on Facebook. I seen Matthew Hills in the group, and we're both military dudes. So I kind of shot him a message. He told me all about it. He told me, "Hey, I need you to go. This is a good thing. You need to be a part of."
Yeah.
And it kind of shot off from there. So pretty much social media. I think social media has the biggest impact on the next generation or the new guys that are trying to come in.
Yeah.
Right.
I think what we're really, really proud of is just everybody's welcome. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
we've done, I think, a really good job from speaker presentations all the way through. We're not very cliquish. Now we've grown so large. Now the first couple of conferences, everybody who came went out and ate together at the same restaurant. You remember that, James? It was like,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we barely filled a small restaurant down the street. So now, obviously we've grown so big that people spread out all over downtown Mesa. But I get that almost every year from people saying, I was nervous, I didn't know what to expect. I thought, I didn't know if I'd be welcome because I have one tortoise or I've got one pet turtle. And I get lots of feedback in late November, early December that, hey, it was really great. Then everybody, I got invited to dinner and I got to network with people. That's I'm very proud of that part of TTPG, the conference. I think we do a good job at that.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I felt very comfortable with everybody there, meeting big name people and other people that are way more knowledgeable than me. It's just a wealth of knowledge. Everybody there has some kind of knowledge to help pass along to you, someone they know or something they can do to try to help you improve as a keeper and as a person in the group. Michael and I, we talked a little bit before, and then we went to dinner. Just like you said, we went to a small dinner at a hibachi bar before that. And it was really nice. I think you guys did an amazing job making the new guys feel welcome.
Cool.
Well, and I think that's something we consciously approach as well. And Russ, I think if, correct me if I'm wrong, because the new guys are the future. That's something we keep in mind. This is not an ego show. Whatever an more appropriate word is. We are not some of established breeders and keepers, long-term keepers are there not there to show off. They're there to share and help others become what they are today. And that's, I think, one of the beauties about the conference. And our next guest, when you hear from him, we talked about somebody having just one turtle or tortoise saying, "Oh, I don't think this conference is for me. I just have one turtle," or "This conference isn't for me. I have only a box turtle." What is wrong with the box turtle? I know I sound like a broken record, but I was listening to Phil Simpson. Good evening, Phil. Last night, the man was big into box turtles. Now he has other things because he lives in a native range now. He cannot have box turtles, so box turtles, there are people around the world who die to get their hands on North American box turtles, right? Sliders, I know they get a bad rep, but again, one of the most amazing species, hardy species, and I think so many of us are where we are because of sliders, if I can say so boldly without getting crucified for it. Uh, I mean, I actually want to go back and look at how many dollars that those kitty balls and the old notes about sliders raised at the auction. Thanks to Bob for donating those. Um, Dawson, before I let you go, any notes, any feedback for us about what would have been nice for you at the conference, or anything that you're like, oh, I wish this had been done this way, and if you don't have to share now, you're welcome to drop it in an email or DM me. But for those who are on the fence about going to the conference, is there any word of encouragement that you would like to share for those folks to try to get them there? And if possible, next year bring some folks from Texas.
Yeah.
There are a few guys I wouldn't mind seeing in person.
No, I have nothing negative to say. I think the conference was ran perfectly from a standpoint. I can say that I left truly inspired to take what I'm doing to the next level and what TTPG is doing to the next level. I left inspired, motivated. I have a lot of goals now. I've met a lot of people that are going to change my life forever and have already changed my life forever. That they're helping me in what my goals and my dreams are, and our goals and our dreams as a group together. I was on the fence about going due to the fact that I had a military schedule that was bumping into it, but I was able to be released from that, and I was super excited, and I'm truly blessed that I was able to experience TTPG. So I appreciate everything you guys do, and thanks for creating the group, guys. It's awesome.
Thanks, Dawson.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it. I know, you were almost, might have had to cancel, but I'm glad that that wasn't the case. Now, did you go back home with any turtles or tortoises from the show?
I did. I acquired a Chaco tortoise from Arizona Tortoise Compound, and I'm super excited to work with that. I've met some great people that are working with Chacos right now, like Aaron Johnson and people like that, and they've helped me tremendously along the way. So I'm super proud to be a part of the Chaco Club. Just got to raise this little baby right, and I can get some more in the future to add to the group.
Nice.
Awesome. And you picked up some animals at the auction as well? You
I
stayed
did.
back for the auction.
I had a really good friend, Steve. He bought me some Knox Red Ear sliders from Mark Cantos. So I got some of those to add to a group. I mean, I'll throw them in a pond somewhere on the ranch someday. They'll live out their best life.
Awesome, awesome. Hey, I am looking forward to our paths crossing again in person. Hopefully this year at the conference. But thank you so much for thanks for taking time to hop on here, and wish you good luck this weekend. I hope you don't lose power. I hope you and the animals all make it through without any scratch.
We're
Thank
strong
you,
here.
Dawson. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Hey, 2024 conference field trip November 13th. Conference November 14 and 15. And the Phoenix Reptile Expo November 16, 17. Does that sound right,
Awesome.
James? Does that sound right, James?
Yes.
Okay. I assume we're the same without any problems. So everybody can plan very early now.
Yeah, and I know this was quite a bit of a pain point for folks last year, but we are at the mercy of the hotel. James and Drew work on the contract. I mean, there's a lot of contract negotiation. I mean, all the good stuff you can think about. And they open the block when they open, and please jump in on it. Mesa seems to be a hotspot right when we do the conference. In November, right around then, they have a lot of things happening in that city, small city. So the Delta Marriott seems to be a very popular spot. So if you're thinking of going to the conference, as soon as it's announced that the room blocks are open, please jump in on it. Uh, we were able to kind of get them to add some more rooms last year, but I don't know, with the conference growing the way it is, I would highly encourage you to hop on. Now, I'll also say some of our new members are opted to go and get some Airbnb so that you can find some spots right around if the Marriott doesn't work out. I think that worked out for some of our members. So there are options. Please feel free to reach out when the time comes. If the Marriott is sold out, I'm happy to help you find spots around. Um, Let me bring on our next guest, another wonderful young man. I think he's from Washington, if my memory serves me right. Max, he was there for the first time, and Max is an interesting guy, but I'll let him tell you about himself rather than me kind of adding it all and not giving him much to talk about. Max,
Hey,
good evening.
folks. Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. Thank you so much for making time. I know you got kids. I know you have your hands full Friday evening. I like your t-shirt. Uh,
Thank you.
Now, we were talking about how some people are hesitant to come to the conference. They're like, well, I have only one turtle or I have only one tortoise. Now, Max, you were special. You did not have any turtles when you came to the conference. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. I had zero animals actually when Russ was explaining the some people have two or one. I was like, I had zero. Um, I think it was really cool. It was awesome to go and learn from the experts before keeping any animals, and really that opened up a whole network to me for which I now have animals. So it was an incredible experience, even going with no animals and less experience than most. It was an awesome experience.
But you have been laying the groundwork. You've been doing research. How did you hear about the conference?
Yeah. So probably about a year ago, I started researching Kleinmani, and I was like super set on Kleinmani. And then through my research, learned about the ESA, read a bunch of papers, and watched a bunch of videos by Ralph Till. And so I found him on Facebook and started just hammering him with questions. And he was gracious enough to answer all of them, and was like, "Hey, you should think about joining TTPG." So that got me connected via Facebook, and sort of the rest is history. So big shout out to Ralph.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, unfortunately, due to the whole ESA situation, you don't have Egyptians, but you made it out to the conference. What was your take on the conference?
Yeah, the conference was incredible. I had the same hesitation I think that Dawson did. I was sort of fearful to go in there, not really, being the new guy, not really knowing anybody, but everybody was super welcoming. Even before I got to the conference, people like Cameron and others had reached out and, encouraged me to go. And then upon going there, people just opened their arms, that Jeremy, Cameron, Andrew, Anthony, you name it. It was an incredible experience where everyone sort of opened their arms and welcomed me into the community and answered questions that I had, some of which admittedly were incredibly ignorant at the time, but they, answered them with honesty. They answered them politely, and didn't make me feel silly for some of the things I didn't know.
I'm thankful to hear that. I mean, you listed some great names there. Every one of them are just incredible people who will give you their time, and do that repeatedly. Anthony, Jeremy, Cameron, Andrew, absolutely incredible folks. And I'm happy to hear you say that, because I don't know if this is if some groups take pride in, like, oh, you cannot ask a stupid question like that. You should have already done your research. This is an advanced group. You ask only advanced questions. I'm glad that we are not that, because sometimes even a basic question, even when you research, there's so much conflicting information out there that some people just want to pull their hair out. And what is the harm in just taking 2 minutes to clarify something that's basic? So I'm glad to hear you say that. Um,
Yeah.
Now, that it took for somebody like you who has young kids, it takes a lot to get out to the conference. And you stayed for the entirety of the conference. I don't know that if I saw you at the show. Will we be seeing you again next year?
Oh
What do you
yeah.
think?
I will definitely be back. I'm going to be a hopefully yearly attendee, assuming there's nothing else that comes up. I look forward to it. It was sort of the way that got me reconnected to the animals I grew up loving, and helped me reestablish that passion, and the support I've had through the community, and just asking questions and updates, and folks that have reached out and educated me, like Mark and Matthew, and they've just been incredible resources as I've begun to build out my collection over the past few months.
Mark and Matthew, both again two incredible guys. Now you came to talk a lot about Egyptians. You left, and you made some connections that have now take landed other animals on your lap.
Yeah.
What was it connecting with those people and seeing that translate to you being able to acquire some healthy animals? And I think that's very important. Some not all of these folks advertise on Morph Market or Fauna Classifieds. Do people go to King Snake still? Anyway, um, but to see Dawson, going back home with a chocolate tortoise, or you landing with Spangler Eye, and Mark, you can tell me if I pronounce that right or wrong later. But you know, what was that experience, like making those connections, that's now led you down a path where you're now working with some incredible animals that a lot of folks don't get a chance to work with?
Yeah, it was a cool experience even for myself. You know, when the whole thing that led me to the community was Kleinmani, and I was like dead set on eventually keeping Kleinmani. And I remember going, you know, one of my first experiences, I started to people even before the first day of the conference. I was like, wow, these people have so many animals and so many species. Like that's so many. I couldn't imagine having more than one. And you know, now having three species with two on the way, it just really opened my world. Like hearing the excitement, hearing the passion that people had for certain animals, and learning about new species really just made me sort of expand my horizon, and decided that I wasn't gonna. I was able to be passionate and keep other species, and also hopefully eventually keep Kaimani without having to, you know, forgo keeping anything. So it, you know, I met Betsy through the conference. Through her, I was able to keep some awesome Spangleri. You know, I met Harley through the conference. Through him, he was kind enough to gift me some Greeks, which was incredible. You know, I met a bunch of other people who I'm working with before and after the conference who we're working on building out some programs and keeping and exchanging other animals in the future. So it was phenomenal. I think it really expanded my horizons, and I'm grateful for the experience.
Nice.
I'm really, but yeah.
I think one thing too that's really important about the conference is you talk to the people who are keeping and breeding very successfully all of these sometimes very rare species, and it sort of gives you that confidence. I think that's what Max was saying. You know, it's like you hear a lot of horror stories about Spangleri, but when you're in the room there talking to Anthony and Betsy and all of these people that are very successful with them, it kind of gives you that, hey, I can do this. You know what I mean? I mean, they give you all the information about husbandry, and be sure and do this and don't do this, and this worked for me, this didn't work for me. You know, it's pretty exciting part there. Like Michael was saying, there's so much online, you know, these care sheets and other things and people's experiences, and but when you're right there in the room, or maybe at dinner with the dude who's keeping and producing dozens of them, that's a big part of the conference. That's a things that you get in person that you can't get even over the phone sometimes, and definitely not by just reading random posts on social media or care sheets here and there. That's pretty exciting.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, it was really a lunch with Anthony, and Anthony was like, you should talk to Betsy because she has some baby Spangs. And I was like, I'm definitely going to do that. And then he made the introduction, and now I have three of her incredible animals. So
yeah, I mean,
awesome.
You know, when you think, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but you know, Ralph Till is basically dedicated his the past decade to Egyptian tortoises, and Anthony, I mean, he's got a giant collection, but these guys that are focused on all of these rare species, Wayne and his Hamiltoni, and again, dozens of other species too. But these people are all congregated from Florida, upstate New York, and Southern California. I mean, they come in and bring their expertise far beyond just a 30-minute presentation, you know, up on the stage. This is why at the conference we don't schedule evening events. We used to in the early days. We would have workshops, and we flew a guy in from Madagascar to talk about what's going on in Madagascar. But we found out that people want to get together. They want to go and have dinner or a beer together and socialize, network, and so that's how that evolved. That Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Friday night.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I want to add, so, you know, sometimes many of our friends look at the speaker lineup and like, well, do I want to go this year or not? And I want to add that, yes, the lineup and what the presenters are offering, the knowledge they're sharing, that's incredible. Sometimes it's not up your alley. You're like, okay, it's too much on the aquatic side. But like I said, you get an opportunity to talk about just about any species outside of those sessions. Grab a seat, pull Paul, pull Anthony, pull me. Talk about crassicolors, talk about Spankleri. Even it's not on the lineup, but let's talk. And we're happy to do that. And again, that I think is something I just cannot emphasize enough. It's not just the speaker lineup that I think we need to be looking at. Um,
And we made that
sorry, Michael. Yeah, and a new development. This is probably where James is just going to go. Now we've got the Galapagos Tortoise Alliance that is going to have their annual meeting at TTPG every year. We've got the Connexus Working Group, the Hingeback Tortoise guys. They're going to probably have their annual meeting every year at TTPG. I'm hoping we can get the Chaco Club and the Box Turtle guys too. I don't know where we'll put them all, but it's exciting that it's kind of the meeting place for the captive breeding crowd. So is that where you were going, James?
Yeah, that. And I think from the beginning, we really focused on the fact that we needed to have these times. I mean, that was the purpose of the field trip. I mean, we really, really wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to talk to people outside the organized talks and get to spend time with the breeders and networking, as Dawson had said, and that was always kind of a priority for us. That time existed.
Yeah, that full day of socializing on Wednesday is pretty exciting. I mean, it's
because they're not always turtle events or turtle.
We didn't know what how that would be accepted. This time the field trip were to the cactus and succulent nurseries in Tucson.
Yeah.
But it's really about that bus ride and the camaraderie and the lunch together and getting to know people
right
in a different setting for sure. Yep.
And Mark, since you're here, I'll apologize once again for disappointing you on the field trip day, but I'll make sure that doesn't happen next year.
No, I actually didn't get to go because my schedule didn't work out. I came late anyway, but next time I'll make the field trip. So
cool.
Yeah. Well, before I let you go, Max, anything you want to share with the members or anybody who might be listening in? Like, okay, do I want to go to the conference? Should I make it? Any parting words?
Yeah, I think that the two things are: don't be afraid to go if you don't have an animal. They're equally as welcoming as if you have 1, 2, or 0. I also would say that the support that I have gotten is phenomenal, and you guys just keep doing what you're doing. It's super exciting. I wouldn't be where I am today with a turtle room and animals in it. And I look forward to contributing back to TPG over the years to come. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Max. It's a pleasure. Thank you for making time to join us today, and I'll catch up with you later. Take care.
Thanks,
Have a nice weekend.
Yep. Thanks. You too.
Bye. All right. James, before we bring on our last guest, real quick, you guys have an April show coming up. For those of you who are in the Phoenix area or will be in the Phoenix area, April 21st, James?
I believe that's correct. I did want to correct our conference dates. That's what actually, Thanksgiving is late this year. It's on the 28th. And so our conference dates are the 21st through the 23rd with the reptile show on the 22nd, 24th. Because there's a full week between Veterans Day and Thanksgiving is real late this year. It's on the 28th. And I wanted to correct our dates because we were using the week of Veterans Day. We're always that week between Veterans Day and Thanksgiving. So I wanted to get that corrected first.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I just looked at the calendar and assumed we were that second week. And then, the Phoenix Reptile Expo is April 20 and 21.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're in the area, please stop by. It's one of the, it's always busy, which I'm happy to see. James and Drew, two of our directors, the promoters. They do an incredible job. Please stop by and support them if you can.
We will have an auction this year in April as well, and that always goes to help support. Yes, that goes to help support TTPG, USARC, and our annual activities. So it is a great.
You're making this difficult on us, James. All right, okay. So Thanks. I'm glad you mentioned that because in the past you haven't done a benefit auction in the April show, spring show. So, folks, if you're listening, if there is any either animals that you would like to donate to the auction, like James mentioned, it's the April 21st and 22nd. I'll make a post on Facebook. If you have any items or live animals that you would like to donate to the benefit auction, please reach out to myself or James. You can ship the animals to directly to Arizona. James, can you tell us a little bit about the auction and where does the money go?
I mean, that is the base for. I wish I could say registration covers everything we do at the conference, the Batager, the monographs. We don't. It doesn't. And the auction, it becomes a big part of the support that we that we have.
Makes
we
the conference
love
happen.
It makes the conference happen. It makes the field trips happen. And then we have the Batager, which is our membership driven magazine. And then, yes, thanks, Russ. And then
I have a lot of props tonight, just in case
yes.
it went south.
And then the monograph, our scientific paper or journal that I'm sure Russ has one to put up. Thank you. Which is the scientific journal that we produce. And then we do.
And we have T-shirts as well. Russ, hold one up, Russ. Come on.
I know. You have to stand up, and I didn't grab a T-shirt. I just grabbed.
You have another cool one on though. You have
I do, yeah.
Will's shirt on, the Plane
The Weed Man shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we also do a lot for ITTW, International Turtle and Tortoise Week, which is coming up in April. And we're looking at potentially doing a few more things this year, working with Ashley and it's because of the auction that we can do these things. And so we do really appreciate everyone's support in all areas. So
Awesome. Well, let me bring on our last guest for this evening, Wes, another wonderful young man who made it to the conference for the first time. I told him I regret not being able to grab a drink or a meal with him. We're going to make sure that doesn't gets slipped this year. So Wes, good evening. How are you?
Hey,
So you have to come back to the conference in 2024 so we can grab that drink, right?
Yeah.
We missed that.
Definitely gonna try my hardest for that.
That's how we get people back. Yeah. Promise them a beer or dinner. Yep.
I did pretty good at evading that.
Wes, I think you wrote to one of our members after the conference, and you were sharing your experience. But if I can ask you to kind of relive it a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey with turtles right now, and how did you hear about the conference?
Yeah, so I got my first Brown Mountains was April of 2022, and it's my first tortoise, really.
Nice.
For jumping into those, yeah. And then I wanted to, try to find some podcasts or something that I can listen to while I'm at work, because I don't have a lot of time to read. I have bad attention span for reading. And that's when I found the podcast and Anthony, and that's how I heard about TTPG. And I was like, okay, I'm in. This is crazy. I gotta go.
Nice. Thanks, Anthony. Now, and that's an incredible species to get into the world of turtles and tortoises. They're such curious little creatures, and I forgot how many you have, but I know you enjoyed those. And then you have other species as well that you're working with now. Marginated tortoises?
I do. I have marginated tortoises, and then I got a desert box turtle actually through the CPP.
Right.
And then I got gifted by Connor some three-toed. And then actually I've had my eyes set on the Polycius nanus for a while. Mm-hmm. And Mark was somebody who I was like, okay, I can't leave this place without talking to this guy. So that bus trip, yeah, that bus trip was the icebreaker. It was like, there's no way I can not talk to anybody. So that definitely helped. And that narrowed it in. I was like, okay, I can do this. You know what I mean? He showed me some pictures and videos and talked me through some questions and stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this.
Awesome. Well, you have good taste in turtles, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Those are some incredible species. Yeah. Now, how was your experience at your first conference? What was your take?
It was a lot to take in. I mean, like, everybody says you're going there. I, at the time, had tortoises only for a year, and I was going to sit next to people who had them for who knows how long, or had expert species, being an expert in this species or that species. And so it was a little nerve-wracking, but once I opened my mouth and shook some hands, it became a lot less, uh, I'm trying to think of the word, but I everybody made me comfortable. Um, but it was great that I was able to take notes. I think next time I would maybe take like an audio recorder, because there was some stuff in there that I was hearing in the presentations that were just like blowing my mind. I was like, this is not stuff we're reading anywhere online, and it's well worth my time off.
Yeah. Well, this is probably not a fair question to ask, but I'll just ask. What was your favorite presentation? What if there's one that you kind of still kind of go back and think about which one is that?
Okay, then we got to go on names. I can't remember her name.
No,
She
just talk about the presentation. I'll see if I can remember the name.
Or was it the guy who just introduced all the talks? Maybe it was.
she did the CAT scans of some of those
Yeah.
species.
Heather Smith.
Heather
Yeah.
Smith.
Heather, yes, that
Yeah.
was it. The work she's doing is incredible. Sorry, go on, Wes.
No, it's just some eye-opening information, and then it was really cool that some of those specimens were donated through TTPG members. So I thought that was pretty special.
Yeah, Jeremy, I think,
Yeah.
and James, I think both of you have had a big part of playing it. I was just absolutely blown away by David's presentation, his incubation approach to trying to replicate what happens in the ground in nature. I mean, David is always impressive with his presentations. The way he tries to disinfect eggs and whatnot is just incredible. And again, those are things. People often ask us, well, why isn't this live streamed? Why isn't this recorded? There's a lot of technical aspects to it, but beyond that, the Q&A session is something, again, being able to, again, we are limited on time. We have to sometimes cut off a speaker and so that we can carry on, stay on schedule. But then your ability to go meet that presenter in the hallway, or for dinner and build on the conversation or your questions, that's something you don't get when we're streaming or we offer recorded sessions. Again, I know it's something that comes up every year before the conference, after the conference. Why are these not live streamed? Again, there's also technical and financial aspects to it. I won't bore you all today, but I'm sure we will talk about it sometime. But Wes, you stayed through, and again, I'm thankful I got that opportunity to say hi to you in person, and I'm looking forward to that again, hopefully this year and the years to come. What is your parting words for anyone who might be on the fence about going to the conference? Is there anything, or is there a friend in your neighborhood that you think you're bringing with you next year?
Any of these guys with any experience that you're scouting out on the internet, even just making small talk on the internet, definitely go for it. Talk to them because they will welcome you, and likely too, they'll bust a good joke. So
It's how we all started. It's how we all, we us young guys, we had mentors too. Philippe de Vaugelet and Don Hamper and Hans Dieter Philippen and all of these dudes, Greg Fleming, that came before us. They did the same to us. it's about the animals, and that's with again with the CPP, that's such a huge deal right now. It's about what's right for the animals. So anyway, yeah, everybody's welcome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I want to say about people wanting it to be streamed and such. I kind of get not wanting to push the streaming thing because it keeps it more intimate.
Yeah. It's tough.
No, and I appreciate that note, and I think that part, I mean, that's something we enjoy. I think as great as the presentations are, the morning breakfast, conversations over breakfast, conversations over lunch, dinner, beers, late nights at the horrible Diamond Sports Bar. Yeah, we should think about building a sports bar right across the venue, James. Or at least like
people. I get at least 2 or 3 emails every year. Could I forewarn Diamonds? Is there anything I can do? Like I own the place,
No, I think folks, it's visual thinking, and I know you talk the very first evening we are there at Diamonds, we tell them, hey, this is the week, this is happening. It's almost like they don't care or they don't want. This year they actually started closing the kitchen earlier. It's like, oh my gosh, the crazy turtle people are coming.
The owner and waitresses could make a fortune in tips, and we're going to close at 8 instead.
Yeah.
But
it just got worse the longer the conference went on. The service, what do you do?
Yeah, but that again, is where a lot of the magic happens. After the presentations are over. So again, for those who are thinking of attending and have been nervous, please consider joining us this coming year. And anyone who makes it out there, again, some of us just run all over the place. If you're there by yourself, for example, please reach out and grab any one of us and say, let's go grab lunch or dinner and we will make it happen. Wes and I think we were talking, and Wes said, I had to go and eat Thai food by myself. I'm like, that's a sin. That should never happen. Not at a TTPG. Yeah, not at a TTPG conference, especially. So please reach out and say, hey, let's go grab dinner and we'll make it happen. Or if we made plans, we will grab you and we will take you with us. That's just how we roll. So
I think we're doing a better job too of reaching out and getting people together in October. Online and Facebook, people start getting jazzed up about the conference. But I think social media can help us with that, getting more networking and things before the conference starts. So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Anthony throwing acronyms out there. I'm gonna go Google this thing now. So,
yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
I saw that on a beer can. Fear of missing out. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
James is nodding. He's got young kids, so he knows.
Yeah. I saw it somewhere at ASU, and I had to look it up the first time too. I'm like, what is this? So I'm only a week or two ahead of you, Michael.
Thank you, James. Thank you. But this is what you're saying here right now. This is the conference week, guys. This is what you have to look forward to. This banter. Please join us. Consider joining us. Wes, any parting words before I let you go? I know you're staying up late. You got young kids. I sincerely appreciate you joining us today.
I appreciate you having me on. My only parting words is I can't wait to get back and try to make a better appearance of myself. Like I said, the first time I was like literally avoiding people because of my anxiety. And I just mostly wanted to listen to people more so than talk to them. But I definitely understand now why I should be talking to people more. So
very cool.
Yeah,
it'll be here before we know
it. Yeah,
we always say, "Oh, we've got a year to plan," and then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, wait, it's next week."
Yeah. Thank you, Wes. Have a wonderful weekend. I don't know if it's a holiday weekend for you. Enjoy it, and I'll catch up with you online.
Awesome.
Take care, man.
Thanks, Al. Good evening.
But so again, I appreciate all the friends who made time today, and of course you, Russ, and all of you who joined us online. Like mentioned, and I recall that sometimes we want to go and we just want to take it in. We don't want to open our mouth and say anything, or like, okay, how do I come across? But I anyone who's new to the group and still kind of relatively new, if you make it out there or even online in the group, talk to us, show us who you are, and what your priorities with animals are, what these animals mean to you. That is incredibly important, and that's what our meetup member is about. And the reason is because it helps us understand, it helps others who are listening and understand why you're keeping an animal or why you're seeking an animal you seek. And that again opens doors down the road when you do this for the right reason. And we have seen it with CPP multiple times. Animals that you thought you wouldn't be able to get your hands on make their way to you because people respect you. They understand why you're doing something. And the one way to help us understand that is by talking, by sharing. So again, I allow every single member who takes the time to come and hop on and be a guest at the Meet a Member. I know it's sometimes can be nerve wracking, but I appreciate everyone who's doing that. And I'm looking forward to kind of getting that going starting February. James, are you ready?
I am.
Yeah,
We'll
I've got to
we'll
actually reach out to Harley and get him going. I've tried multiple times. Incredible guy,
yeah.
just a really quiet, wonderful keeper. But he works with the fire department. He's a busy man, and he's got a young kid. He's teaching how to what is ski. But I got to make that happen. So James, is it a long weekend for you?
It is. I'm looking
Awesome.
forward to it. We're in the same spot that Dawson and Russ are in. I was catching Russ's comments when I was logging on. We've had a cold week, and we're going to have a cold weekend. So, it's tough when you have a lot of tortoises. I've got lights going everywhere, and it's just part of it and part of the fun of keeping it. So
yeah. And yeah, there's never a dull moment, something happening. And I think Russ was talking earlier about his building. I'm so incredibly thankful for all the advancement in technology. And I mean, today you can have alerts coming to your phone in the middle of the night. I don't know if you used to make midnight runs, James. Did that used to be, or did that used to be part of your schedule? We would wake up. Oh, is that part of yours, Russ?
Yeah. Mhm. In fact,
remember.
I had sulcatas outside here in Oklahoma, and all winter I had a really nice double insulated outbuilding for them. But I had to mount a light on top of the building so I could look down from the back of my house to make sure the electricity was still on. So if the light bulb was going, I knew that the heater inside was going. I mean, that's that's old school. Yeah. And
that's
now,
why I like those new
now
meds.
it's just an app on your phone. So
yes.
Yeah.
That's if you want to know the temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah,
but
I just needed to know the heater was on. I couldn't even tell the heat or humidity or anything else. I knew my pig blanket was on if that light bulb was on in the top of my shed. So crazy.
Yeah.
Phyllis, a wonderful friend and founder of the Sacramento Turtle and Tortoise Club, she used to have string Christmas lights in a greenhouse. So when she looks in from her window, if the lights are on, she knows there's electricity in the greenhouse. Things are good. So hey, it's effective, So, gentlemen, any parting words from either one of you?
No, I just want to thank those dudes for coming on, and it makes us proud, that we've created something that's this. There are lots of little clubs and specialty niche groups that people age out and they disappear. So having this new guys and girls that are going to come in and breathe new life into TTPG is very exciting. So, yeah.
So people can't call us an old boys club anymore. That's no longer applicable. Right? We got that to look forward to.
Yeah.
But
the old part. Yeah.
Yeah, kidding aside, I'm looking forward to 2024 conference, specifically to see who we're gonna see at the conference. New members, new
Yeah,
folks. So
the
that's
possibilities are exciting. If all of our everybody who comes, whether you've been coming for 13 years or 1 year, bring somebody with you. If you've got this is an infectious hobby. People see beautiful tortoise pens out in your backyard and fully planted in waterfalls, and they want to be a part of it. So that's pretty exciting too. That's how all of these groups grow. Is getting other people interested and bringing a couple with you. And James, one more time, November 20th.
Oh, you're going to ask me now.
Wednesday, November 20th is the field trip.
Yeah, I just put it down, and I was actually reading something else. And
the conference is November 21 and 22. And then the Phoenix Reptile Expo is November 23 and 24. I hate that I gave the wrong dates at the start, but like I said, I just assumed it was that week.
So field trip 19th, conference 2021. No, I'm having that wrong. Field trip 20th, conference 21, 22, and then the show 23, 24.
Great.
Sorry.
Yeah. Awesome.
I just want everybody to not put that earlier week on their calendars. So but hopefully this early people will be able to, again, it's not easy to make your way to Mesa, Arizona for some people, from all over different jobs and occupations and school and everything else. So we hope by getting it out there early, people will be able to save their pennies and save the date on the calendar. So
yeah, I'll create an event so it's on your radar, folks. Get your time requests in. Again, I cannot tell you how much we push ourselves. We are always okay, trying to bring in new speakers, trying to talk about species that we haven't talked about before. So at the start, I mentioned if anybody's interested in writing for Batago, please reach out to us. I'll close by saying if you're considering or if you would be interested in presenting, please reach out to us. Again, the years of experience and whatnot is not something that should hold you back. Little observations that you have made that you want to share, that's what the conference is about. Something you do that you think other keepers would find valuable, sharing that's what the conference is about. So please consider sharing your experiences through presentation. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all at the conference. But I'm also looking forward to our next month's Meet a Member. This guest I have in mind, hopefully he can make it. He was going to be joining us in October. Life got in the way. I couldn't host it. We couldn't do it. But so I'm looking forward to catching up with him. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for making time.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a nice evening, everyone, and a wonderful weekend. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.